let's start right away. The first thing, we're gonna open this folder, which is inside the folder you have unzipped, this one here in Unity. So we're gonna select Unity, we're gonna hit open and downloads template. This is the folder we want to open this one, and here we are. So talking about this UI a little, this UI maybe, we have on the left side the hierarchy menu, where it is everything that it is on the scene. So as we can see now, to move around the camera here, you hold down Option and Option plus Command to pan the camera. So as you can see, what you have here is what you have in the scene. So we have a main camera and a directional light. This instead is the game view, which uses the camera. In this case, we only have one camera, so it's using that. And it shows us what the player will see. Below we have a folder system, which is the folder. This is inside the folder we opened as the project. And in fact, as we see inside here, we have assets, which is the same as we have here, and other things that is required for the project to run. And inside the asset, you have the same things that we have here. And this is just a folder system. On the right side instead, we have the inspector view, which when you select something in the scene or in the folder menu, you can see the settings of that, the settings of the item. Also, we have an asset store, which well, it is the integrated asset store that can lets you download a lot of prefabs, and well, it is very useful if you want to try things out and are not very picky about the model you're gonna use. It's just like something like a demo. You're not gonna use anything super fancy. You can download the free ones, or you can actually buy some of the more complex one and actually have everything integrated inside. As you see, there's one for and in the animator instead we have something that I will show you later. So I want to talk about the Unity-ARKit plugin too, which is this thing is often updated, usually after an ARKit update, and it has everything that you need to connect the Unity project to the Xcode project. Also it has this example folder, which is a great starting point when you start a new project, because it has various demos and you can, well, try them out. So we actually are gonna do exactly that. We're gonna start with Unity-ARKit scene, which we can open. And as I told you, this is what the camera sees, the game view. This is our scene, and these are the objects that are inside the scene. So what we're gonna do is actually we duplicate this. We're gonna call this fishbowl. And since we don't want it to be there, we're gonna move this inside the asset scenes. If I can get that scenes. Oh, I already had one. So we're gonna delete this and put this inside scenes. Okay, so we're gonna open this one. Now we can start deleting a couple of things. What does this example do? Well, it lets you it scans for surfaces. When you actually build it on your phone, it will scan on see some it will scan the surfaces around you what the camera sees, and when you tap on the screen, if your tap collides with a surface that has been detected, it would spawn this cube, this little cube here. So this is the basic behavior we want to have in our project. So we're gonna, but we don't need like the cube, we don't need this cube, so we're gonna delete this. The camera parent and the main camera are required because they have all the thing that is necessary for the camera to receive the phone movement. So when you twist it, when you go around, when you start to pick from some sides of the view, you want this to be connected to the movement of the camera. So we keep this. The light, we can keep it, it's okay. The heat cube parent, we will use it, so we can keep it, but we don't need the heat cube inside, so we delete the heat cube. The AR camera manager is necessary. This is connected to the main camera, so we will, as I said before, we will need it. Generate planes, I will disable it. You can keep it if you want to see the square that defines where a surface has been detected, or I just don't care about that, so we just don't show it. And the point cloud particles example does also something like that. It shows you where it's detecting some surfaces, but also this one we don't want to keep. ARKit control is actually something useless right now. Oh, this is actually used to, if you lock the phone, you can try this. Enable some commands on the screen, so you can tap to say rotate the screen, but it's something like a debug option. Okay, so now we're good. We have set it up. We've removed the unnecessary things, and I think we can pretty much start. How do we start? Well, I created something to start with already, and it is this whole circular model. This whole circular model you will see in this preview on the bottom right. You can also play it, and you will see this little hole closing itself. Is what we're gonna use as the container of our fishes. Yeah, we're gonna make a hole with it opens on the ground, and inside we're gonna put some water and some fishes. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do, but the hole should be opening and it is actually closing, so we're gonna have to fix that. Also up here you will see that I already changed the end frame position to 30, which okay, if we didn't we let this be, I don't know, 100. Yes, if you can see, this is this will close and will be closed for a longer time, which is, if since we are going to reverse the animation, it will be starting from the end and will be a lot of nothing, and then it will open itself. So we're going to reduce this with 30, and then we're going to reverse it. So it's apply and we are good. And everything seems good. So what are we going to do? We're going to put it up here. It was spawn. Okay, seems good. There's a little problem, because if we tap here, you can see this is all the things inside, some materials, meshes, and the animator and animation, which is this one. You will see that it has also a camera, which is not what we're going to use, because we use the other one which has already all the things attached for the ARKit. So we're going to disable this. For the directional light, is an overkill, but it's fine. We'll make the thing more illuminated, so it's fine. Okay, now let's go and start to do something. We're gonna have to add things on the top of this, and these things are the materials. What do you apply on the surfaces of a model? Those are called materials, and we created just one right now. Then on other two, we're gonna call this outer. We're gonna call this inside, actually, or inner is even better. Inner. And here in the inspector you will see this main maps and this albedo option or thing, and if you tap on this little pinpoint, you're gonna select what texture you want to put on that material, and we're gonna select tiles. Okay, so we have it. We're gonna reduce the smoothness to 0, and we're gonna also to enable the emission. Now emission needs to be not black, because black doesn't provide any light, so we're gonna raise this a little bit. And here you can see the preview. Now this is good, but we wanted to touch this on the things that it is inside this box. So we can just select this main camera or the main camera parent and just disable this for now because we don't need it. And we're going to take the material in there and drag and drop it on top, on the inside of the hole. And we can now have it is attached to the mesh inside. Also, there are two other meshes here, which is this whole inside and the whole edge, and we're going to apply the same material to that. So create material again, edges will do. I'll again select the albedo to change the texture, and we're going to pick border, this one. We're going to reduce the smoothness to 0.22 and something, and that's pretty much it. Now we're going to drag and drop these edges on top on the hierarchy side, on the whole edge, yes, and on the whole inside. And this does already look a little bit like a pool. Now for the external part, there is a trick, because we don't want actually this to be rendered, because we want this to be invisible. Actually, we don't care about the box outside, we care only about the things that is inside, since we're going to spawn this hole on the ground. So what can we do? Well, we create another material. That's, of course, we're going to call it the outer, and we have to add to it something that will say it shall be invisible. But usually when you make something invisible, it will just disappear on the scene and everything that is on the other side will be visible. But we don't want exactly that. We want it to be invisible, but also to not render what's on the other side. So what we exactly want is we want it to be rendering, but we want it to be rendering, but not rendering anything. So showing nothing, exactly. And this is what does that. This is a shader file, which we call mask, or actually custom/mask, which means that we will find this inside the custom folder, wherever we're gonna use a menu to select a shader. And what does this little part of code say is you should be rendering this stuff, you should be rendered first, and whatever you are gonna render, you should like print nothing, you should pass nothing, okay? Should just don't show anything, which is this thing here. And with that, we're gonna achieve what we want to do. So we have this already in the script folder. So we just have to go to the materials, outer, and up here in shader, instead of standard, since I told you this is called custom/mask, you're gonna find it inside custom mask. Okay, now we have it, and we're gonna apply this to the whole top. So you go in the inspector after selecting whole top, and here in the materials, element 0 is not Lambert anymore, but it is outer. As you can see, it is invisible, it's not showing anything, but if you are not if you are behind it, you will not see the hole. Okay, cool. So we achieved it, and that's okay. Now we also want to add the animation of the hole. We don't want this to be already opened. We want it whenever we spawn this object to be opening. So to do that, we are gonna go back into the prefab, and we're gonna have to, well, we're gonna actually select this whole circular in the hierarchy side, and you will see this animator on the right saying that this animator, which uses this avatar, requires a controller, which is just non-selected right now because we have to create one. So we're gonna down here in the prefabs and create an animator controller. We're gonna call this opening, and we're gonna open this. Oh well, first let's add this. Okay, so he needs it. He needs a controller. Let's add a controller to it, and it's just drag and dropping it in there, and that's fine. So we attached the object here. The whole circular now has a controller, but the controller has to be linked to this take 01 animation. So we're going to open this one with the entry and exit point, and we're going to just drag and drop the take 001 animation. So now this is connected to the opening controller, and the opening controller has inside itself the take 001 animation. Great. But as I said, the animation is actually closing, the hole is closing itself. So we have to change that, and to do that we select the take 001 inside the animator controller, and on the inspector again we're going to find this value speed. We're going to change it to minus 0.6 to make it a little bit faster. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Okay, now let's see. Let's go back on our scene. Let's hit the run button to see. Okay, it's working. It's low enough. Yep, it's good. If you don't, I keep this game open here because otherwise the scene will switch to game whenever you hit play. So I just keep this open on the side, which I don't care, but it will keep my view stuck on the scene view. Now what do we want to do now? Well, we added our box, but we have to say, well, we have to do some things, right? Because in this case we are gonna just well, the camera is let's enable the camera again a second, and you see you are inside. So whenever you start this application, if you will do this right now, we'll be inside the box, which is useless pretty much. And we want to spawn this on a specific collision point. To do that, we're gonna take our whole circular and we are gonna move this inside the hit cube parent inside. So it's now, the whole circular is now a child of hit cube parent. Also, we have to fix a couple of stuff here, which is the hit cube parent position as z of minus something, and we want this to be 0. And the whole circular now has this changed because we've moved there is farther, so we're gonna have to change this again to 0. So this is just to have the things set it up right. And we're gonna change the scale to 5 because 10 is just too big. Okay, now as I was saying, after this little fix, we're gonna have to add the thing, which is a script that makes the spawn happen. Now, inside, somewhere inside the Unity-ARKit-Plugin, you're gonna find the file which is called Unity-ARKit-Test-Example. This has everything that you will need to say to whatever you attach this file. Wherever you tap on the screen and it finds a collision on the surface, it will spawn that object. That's what it does. I have this new Unity-ARKit-Test-Example script because I simply, because I simply changed this to be to have this private animator variable, which is a variable named animation of type animator. This is because we want to start the take 001 animation when we spawn that this object on a collision point. So it is actually the same as you can find in the example, plus this variable, this get component, which will get from the object it is attached to the animation, which is the take 001, and in the end this play the animation take 001 right here. Okay, so now that I explained this to you, how do I apply this? Well, it's rather simple. We're going to select this whole circular, we're going to say add component, and we're going to type in new, and it will find this new Unity-ARKit test example, which is the name of the script file we have. This file also has a value which is called hit transform, which is asking and requiring what are we gonna move to the collision point. Normally you will use the whole circular itself, but in this case we're gonna use the hit cube parent, because we're gonna well, because this is parent, so whatever is inside there will be moved, and also because we're gonna put other things inside, so everything that we want to be moved together. So we're gonna just take this hit cube parent and drag and drop it on the hit transform, and that's it. So the script will run whenever collision is detected, and the transform will be applied to the hit cube parent, which has inside the whole circular, so it will be moved also as well. Okay, now we have it, but this is a little bit static as a view. We want to have a little bit more complexity. Let me just hide the camera again, and to do that, well, you already see here we have a swim, so you can already start now think of what we're going to add, which is a fish. Yes, we're going to add a fish by using the asset store. In the asset store, we're gonna use well, let's type fish, let's say free. Okay, I think it added it. Please add free. Okay, here it is. Okay, and we're gonna use this free cartoon cruise carp animated carp whenever it loads. The crucian carp swim animation, that's what we want to do. You probably will have the download button first, but eventually you will have the import one, and you tap on that, click on that, and well, yes, we want to import this. Import, and that's it. Inside the asset folder, we're gonna have this cruise carp model with a texture, with the model which has inside the animation, the avatar, and also the material inside here. Great. So we're gonna go back a second here. We actually want this to be moved inside prefab. It's a little more, makes a little more sense. We're gonna take this and put it on hierarchy side, and the fish will be spawned in the center of everything. Good, great. Now, what do we want to do with this? Well, first let's add an animation. Animator is here, is already activated, and is an animator controller. So again, as we did before, we create one animator controller, and we're gonna call this swim. And double clicking on that, we're gonna have to add this cruise carp which is the animation. This symbol here is the animation, so we can see the preview by selecting the animation, and it's in play. You can see it is swimming here. So we added this, and we can also maybe make it just a little bit faster, just to do that, just for fun. Okay, and what else? We're gonna have to fix something here, which is selecting the cruise carp and in the prefab, and then going in the animation. So if you change something on this bottom level, you're changing the model. If you're changing something on the hierarchy, you're going to change one of its instances. What I wanted to do is actually say that this animation has to be looped. So down here in loop time, you wanted to check this box, and then it apply, so it will keep swimming. Let's go back on our scene. Let's hit play, and it is not moving, but you already know why it is not moving, right? Exactly, we didn't add the swim animator controller to the animator controller value here. So we're gonna have to drag and drop this. Here you are. Here you have it. Let's play it. There it is. There it is. Swimming. Beautiful card. Okay. Now let's add one more, or three more, maybe. Well, let's add a couple. This is just for making you more confident with this process, but it's pretty much the same. Oh, also, what we want to add here is another script, because this fish has an animator, the animator controller, but nobody is telling it to swim, to actually start the animation. In fact, we're going to use the same principle that we used inside the new Unity-ARKit test example, which are written down here. Oh, damn you. So, random finder, let's open this, and same thing as before. We have this file called swim, which is a variable animation, which will get the component from the object that it is attached to, and it will play the animation. So if we attach this script to the cruise carp by hitting add component swim, now whenever we start when we tap on the collision, it will start. Okay, what are we missing? Oh yeah, I wanted to make some more fishes, because yeah, why not? We're gonna do this by simply duplicating this and moving it, putting it a little bit down, duplicate again, move it again, something like this, and duplicate one more time. Let's put this one, oh, not so high, this one here. Okay, also if you hit E, you can access the rotation tool, and yeah, rotate it. Just rotate them. Oh, when it's rotate on the other side, it's fine. And this one as well, this side. Okay, now there is a problem by using this method. It is that now all these fish will be swimming in synchro, which is a little bit strange. Funny actually. Okay, so we're gonna have to change them. Faster way, easiest way maybe, is to, oh well, we have them here, and all of them are using this swim animator controller, but we can go in there, duplicate the swim. You can just let this be called swim 1, it's fine. I'm gonna in there and change the offset to be 0.4. Well, let's reduce the speed. This one is back to 1. 1 speed and 0.5 of cycle offset. Okay, and so we have 2 different animator controller now with some different values inside this animation. And going back to the scene, we're going to select, well, let's say this, which is the 1, and this, which is the 2, and we're going to change this swim to swim 1. Also in the cruise-carp 1, change this to swim 1. So they now have different animations. Check them out. Yeah, it's working. Oh, they sync at a certain time, but it's fine. Another thing that I want to tell you about Unity is that it has an auto-update function which works pretty well, and I'm gonna show you how does that work. We will the texture of the cruise-carp in the Finder, and we're gonna just change. Nope, actually we're gonna duplicate this, and if we go back here, it will spawn immediately here. See, it's very fast. So we can use this one now. We're gonna select this. We're going into, well, you can use Option Command C to open the color manager, and we're gonna just change this to be something like goldfish, which gold, I mean gold. I mean actually gold. Okay, we save this, close, and if you go here, it will be gold already, which is great. Now we're going in materials, because that's just a texture, we have to change the material, duplicate this material, and in the inspector of the new material, we're going to change the albedo or texture to the cruise-carp copy. And of course, you want to apply it to some of these fishes. So let's say the 0 and the 3rd will have different. This is actually group, so you have to open the actual model, which is inside here. And this will have the material, and as a material as cruise-carp, but we want to go and change this as cruise-carp 1. And the same we're going to do for the cruise-carp 3. So select the item below, go in materials, element 0, and cruise-carp 1 material will do. And now we have a little more variety in our pool. Great. Now we don't want this object to be here, though, in the hierarchy view. We want them to be inside a hit cube parent, or even inside the whole circular actually. So we're going to select this whole circular, right click, and create an empty object. We're going to call this inner. Inside the inner, we're going to take all our fishes and drag them and drop them on top of that. So they now have been moved. Their size changed accordingly to the father to be kept the size the same as they are seen now. And well, I think they're pretty much ready. Yep. Now another place where you can find object to add is the asset, import packages, and environment. I'm going to choose this because I want to add some water in there. And this is because Unity is designed as a tool to make games. So many of the things are already there, like terrain, trees. There are many things that are really there to make the job of making a game very much easier. I don't think it's correct. And so we're going to import something from this, but it's not all this stuff, which will take too much time. We're going to remove the prefabs, we're going to remove the scripts, we're going to remove the sprites. I don't think we need this, but we'll keep it. So in environment, we don't need the speed tree, we don't need the terrain, we're going to need some water actually. And I think just water inside water, it is enough. We don't need water basic nor utility, and this is what you want to import. Maybe this is not necessary actually, maybe. So let's import this. It will take a little time while importing the stuff, and it will be shown here in the in our asset, of course, and we'll be able to asset everything. And here we have it. Here we have it in the standard assets. We're gonna go inside the environment, water again, prefabs, and we're gonna use this water pro daytime. Just drag and drop it here, and ooh, a really cool effect. Oh, sorry. As you can see, it's distorting everything that is below. Yeah, it's pretty much what we want. It's not, we don't want this to be so much distorting, otherwise our features would be useless. And also, we don't want this to be that big. We want it to be a little more accessible. We're gonna so take this and drop inside the inner. And you can see now it is 16. We're gonna drop inside the inner, and it will be changed accordingly to the things with it is inside. So it will keep the same size out here, but it will be changed to be actually of the same size. But we don't want this big, so we're gonna reduce this to 1, 1, 1. Does this look right? Yep, pretty much. It's inside the box. I think it is. And we're gonna hit W to just put it in the middle, which is not required, but you know. Okay, and another thing we're gonna want to do is make it to touch these edges, right? We don't want it to be lower, something like this, something like 0.033. This will be fine, but too much distortion. So we're gonna go down here in this in the inspector part, and we're gonna to reduce the refraction distortion to 0.02, so it gives this little blurry effect. The reflection, well, reflection will be applied only on the borders, so whatever. And the wave scale, it's like the tension right now, so we can put it a little lower to be, oh yeah, something like this is fine, something like 1/3 of this light. But you notice now that the fishes are like pixelated. Why is that happening? Well, because the texture size is just this low. So we're gonna have to make it actually bigger. To that, we're gonna just multiply this by 4, hit return, and now they're crispy as we want them to be. Okay. Well, that I think it's pretty much it. I don't see much more what we can do. We're gonna reactivate the camera and we'll see what we're missing, because we're spawning inside this box, which is useless if I start an ARKit application and then I'm already inside the box, especially if I want this hole to be on the ground level. So we want to change exactly that. To do that, we're going to do 2 things. First is change this side, see this height, the height of this the Y position of the whole circular. And since I made this box, I know it's like 5 meters high, and to be this exactly on the floor level, which is this 000 point, I want this to be probably something like minus 2.5 or 2.5. This should be it, but I have actually saved it somewhere, the exact value, just to remember. And it was it was here, minus 2.3. So yeah, let's put 2.3 just because I tested it out and it looked better. But well, about this you probably have to, there's probably because this is probably not exactly 5 meters high, so yeah, you have to know how much it is to make the things work. And this is good. So we put this, let's say that the top level of this box to be on this position, which will be the position where our collision it will be detected. So we'll spawn exactly on the floor, but we're still inside the box with the camera. And the simple fix with that is going to change the hit cube parent to 5. This will move our box up, and since we have this shader mask that will make everything rendered but invisible, when we start the application and we look up, we won't see anything because it's rendered invisible. But also we will not be spawning inside the box, which is much better experience. Okay, now we're gonna have to do just a little thing now, which is setting up the project to be delivered to Xcode. So we're gonna hit File, Build Settings, and we are now on PC, Mac, Linux standalone, but we want to use iOS. So we're gonna select this and hit Switch Platform. Now this will take some time. So now that we switched to iOS platform, we're gonna have to add a little bit of settings, but just a little. We're gonna hit player settings here. We're gonna change the company name to something, whatever you want. Demo. The program name to Fishbowl. And we're gonna have to change, okay, the default orientation should be portrait, because well, in AR, using the camera, it doesn't matter whatever position you have, I mean rotation, so portrait is fine. Okay, this bundle identifier can be changed with your name and the name of the app, whatever you want. And these are the same settings that you're gonna find on Xcode anyway, so you can change it from here on from the Xcode. It is the same. This is the message that you receive when you activate the camera, when you allow the camera. And this is the important thing that you have to change, which is into 11.3, because this is where the last version of ARKit update has been delivered. So we want this to be our base. And that's it. So we are now ready to build it. We're gonna hit build. This will ask us to get where we want to save it and the name of the project. So we're gonna save it as demo poll. Good. It was good. So I'm gonna say good. It's saved and we're building it. So build is complete. We can now open it in Xcode, and you can see now here that every setting we put into the Unity project is actually here already. So we have our bundle identifier, the deployment target, the portrait setted, and you probably have to set your signing. And with that, that's it. We can now build it. Let's try this out. So we are not seeing any particles effect or line effect because we disabled them in the Unity project. So the point cloud example and the camera planes. But if we tap and it detects something, okay, here we go. We have our fishbowl with our 4 fishes swimming beautifully. And you can spawn it everywhere it finds the collision when you tap. And, well, yeah. Okay, now it's perfectly on the floor. Well, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Bye-bye.